pray for you all.
All right, we're on.
Okay.
We're on, okay, back to.
Let's call the meeting to order. It is Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016. Minutes and reports received and filed.
The recorder's April 2016 fees filed, and the clerk's April 2016 fees filed.
Commissioner Committee liaison reports, upcoming meetings and events.
Let's see, Cole County Communities, well, I guess it's Thursday morning yet, but we have the National Day of Prayer Breakfast that you and the mayor are hosting.
We are.
Yes.
I will pray for you.
Cole County Extension meeting, I'm just gonna move on. Cole County Extension meeting Thursday night, Words of the Lions Thursday night, Eastside Business Association Friday morning, and then Saturday at 9 a.m. I need y'all to show up to a educational meeting to help teach people how to zipper merge for MoDOT.
What?
Just, hey, don't ask questions, trust me.
That's a new way of every traffic's, supposed to flow better on.
I've got flipped off about 3 times going through there the other day. I told the boys to keep driving. I had both hands free, I sat on them so I didn't flip them back off. Give them one finger outie, so. No, we're gonna do that out at, I think at the central office. I can let you know where. It's 9 o'clock Saturday morning. Anybody else? Larry? I think your presence has been requested.
Yeah, I will be there.
We'll let you wear a fancy hat or something too, maybe drive the fire truck.
Yeah.
Eric, you too, bring your boy along Saturday.
Practice.
No, you should have your turkey already by now, so, and I'm skipping the turkey
Need
hunting.
to get the gun right out there and practice that.
Just run over them.
Yeah, that's what you did.
Yeah.
Just run over them.
Well, they ought to be able to pull the tractor trailers over there, get over and block the lanes, because they were doing that. We'll come back through Sunday, I guess. So, oh well.
It's gonna be a long 4 months.
Not really. It's not bad. Still 4 lanes.
Get up early.
Yeah, I don't know.
How many traffic at 4 a.m.?
Just remember what it was like when we had one bridge. That's why we passed sales tax, so we can keep upgrading the roads and stuff. So we have something decent to drive on. All right, I think that's all I have.
Salute to America tomorrow. That's it.
We've got home savings, special board meeting tomorrow, World Day of Prayer Breakfast, Carrie and I are hosting, Saturday Shelby Fest downtown.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, another good one's their
Yeah.
10th anniversary, I think.
Yeah.
So that should be a pretty big one. I think they're very excited about coming back to Jeff. So, are you going to the fashion show? I forgot.
No, I'm not gonna be able to make that. You could go represent us. You go represent us.
I'll wear a tux enough. I have to get it washed again. I'm running out of money.
You go represent us.
So,
Okay.
all right.
Presentation from staff, consultants, invited guests, Gary Wheeler with Missouri Soybean.
How's he get on there first?
He's John's
With that
brother.
last name, even.
Morning.
He's John's
Morning,
brother.
Gary.
How's everyone? Good,
Very
you?
good.
Fantastic. So we have an hour and a half dissertation to give this morning.
I thought I said put me 15 minutes.
We have some surplus tasers on hand for these things.
John's used them already. So, good morning. My name is Gary Wheeler. I'm the CEO and Executive Director for the Missouri Soybean Association, Missouri Soybean Merchandising Council. Thanks for having myself and Ashley McCarty this morning. First, I want to thank all 3 of you for your service, being in nonprofit and working for the public for the past 15 years. I'm sure you've had several burrs in your saddle and pains and headaches, so there's a lot to go with that. So this morning we want to bring you guys up to speed on some programs that we have through Missouri Farmers Care Missouri Soybean Association is a member of Missouri Farmers Care, which is a coalition of what I would call agricultural groups, nonprofits, for-profits that are for the benefit of all agriculture in the state of Missouri, and that's to sustain and grow agriculture and its profits, its family members across the board in the state. So I think we've been alive for about 6 years now. Thankfully, we have a new exec on board, which I want to introduce now. It's Ashley McCarty, a great friend, colleague. We've worked together for quite some time now. So, yes, we have. So I want to turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you guys for your time and the packet of information. So at the end of December of this last year, we launched an Agri-Ready designation program for counties. So it's a more formalized, I do, yes. It is a more formalized partnership between Missouri Agriculture and the 38 organizations that make up Missouri Farmers Care and county leaders and county agricultural leaders and policy leaders. The intent of this program is to partner with counties that have their doors open for agriculture and welcome agriculture growth and development of all scales, sizes, shapes, and help promote those counties that have a conducive business policy for Missouri agriculture. So we think that this designation program run through Missouri Farmers Care is a great way to do that. We have 5 counties that have already become designated through the Agri-Ready County Designation Program, and we expect to see that double by the end of the month, likely. The reason that you'll see in the packet that I handed you a brochure on the program specifications, which can simply be summed up as no regulations more stringent than state law regulating agriculture. I happen to sit on DNR's Department of Natural Resources Clean Water Commission. I see the extensive stakeholder process that goes on through the development of their regulations and also the science-based process which they use to develop regulations. And so we feel as Missouri Agriculture as a whole that that's the best housing for oversight, regulation, and enforcement and inspection of Missouri Agriculture for permitted entities and counties. So we feel that there's sound science there and that counties do a great job when they follow those regulations and open their doors for agriculture growth and entrepreneurship and development. We then we developed this program which has just begun and just continues to grow. So the components of it, besides promotion, business development, using our extensive networks, trade promotion, to be able to promote business at a county level. Often when a business is looking to site somewhere, they often give a call to the Corn Growers Association, the Soybean Association, the feed mill, for instance, and ask county policies, growth, demand, and there's opportunities there for us to connect counties and businesses together. We also see great potential in a couple of other avenues that will soon be completely unveiled for this program. The one that I'm probably most excited about long term is there are partnerships to be developed between Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, particularly the FFA programs, and local agribusiness, many of whom are members of our organization, and pair those students that we know are going to stay in our local workforce, perhaps the 60 to 70% that are not going to go pursue higher education for your degree or a technical certificate, prepare them for the jobs at home. And so if we can get agribusinesses to come into a partnership with our FFA programs, identify the skills, jobs, and careers that are going to be available, and then provide an internship and an externship program for both students and teachers, and identify in that curriculum what students need to know. That will equip, I think, our workforce for the jobs at hand. We want many of those people to stay home. I come from a rural community that keeps me firmly rooted, and I know that many of those kids with job opportunities want to stay at home. Cole County has a lot going on. You have a tremendous asset base here, but I know there's also a strong agricultural economy. And so there's a partnership that has been implemented like that with Site Sugar Implements. They said, on this southern tier of counties, they said, we have a hard time finding kids with the skill sets to allow us to send them to diesel mechanic school, for instance. To make that investment, we need them to have a base of these 40 points of our curriculum. They came in and began to forge that. So we know that a third of ag teachers in the state are new each year. They don't have a lot of business partnerships. And we feel that Missouri agriculture can do that to benefit on a county level. So we will be implementing that program in agri-ready counties. We also know that agricultural stewardship is important. So the State Department of Agriculture has developed the ASAP program, Ag Stewardship Assurance Program. There's a flyer on that in your packet, which is an on-farm level verification. So I've gone on my Century Family Farm, we've gone through a verification of grassland and livestock stewardship. They come out, do an inspection, do a walkthrough of the farm, of our record keeping practices, of our stewardship and best management practices. And so we feel that we will promote that very strongly in agri-ready counties because we want consumers in an agri-ready county to, when you think of agriculture, think of those that do it best, that have best management practices every day, and that really shine and excel and raise that bar up higher and higher. Agriculture will continue continuous improvement and continue to do what we do better every day, but that's just one tool in a toolbox to continue to get there. So we think that with economic development, agricultural stewardship, promotion and education, and workforce development, that the Agri-Ready Designation Program would be a great fit for full-time.
With that said, I think it definitely goes without saying that you guys have, I say you guys, the commissioners represent a little over 1,000 small businesses, and that's 1,000, a little over 1,000 small farms with a market value of over $38 million on an annual basis. So that economic impact is huge. Copy? It's huge to Cole County. So it's really, the Agri-Ready, it's really about sustaining what we have, but it's also growing and protecting what we have as well, as far as these little over 1,000 small businesses that generate not only income but help pay for our schools. They go spend money at the local Tractor Supply, at our Walmart, and any other new ventures that we approve for Cole County. So, again, this is definitely something, that's why we're here. We're asking you as commissioners to give it serious thought of becoming an agri-ready county. If there are some issues that are out there that we need to address before we look at Cole County becoming agri-ready, we'd be happy to help and assist with those areas. But why not become one of the first 5 in the state to become agri-ready? It's holding our state capital. Cole County is very unique in that way. So if you compare it to other counties, especially on the income level, $38 million market value of products sold, guys, that's huge. You multiply that by 4 to 6 on the multiplier effect for economic development. That's big. So with that, we'll open it up for questions or comments.
So if we become an agri-ready county, is there a cost to becoming?
There is no cost to becoming agri-ready. The programmatic costs are underwritten by the 38 agribusinesses, trade associations, and commodity groups that make up Missouri Produce Care. It is an annual program, so it's a voluntary partnership that we will continue to work together, and there's an annual recertification or renewal, which will be a very basic, simple process, like the application that you have before. It's a good question.
So there's really no disadvantage not to become one.
It's not.
To me, it's a tool in your economic development entity's toolbox that can be another way to attract attention of the
You and I, we talked about ports.
Sports, I like that
Yes.
idea. I think that's-
This would be huge
yeah.
for that, to say, hey, we're an agri-ready county. I mean, not knowing what we could raise and bring to, increase 10, 15% from the 38 million on an annual basis. I mean, who knows what the opportunities are if we have the chance to put in an additional port.
If we could get, or I was at a chamber thing last Thursday, and they were talking about the businesses there on Algoa and potential new businesses on Algoa also. And the port, I think you're talking about is near Ike Skelton Center.
Yes, sir.
I mean, a port could ship a lot of other things besides agricultural
It could.
goods. It could be a real benefit.
But this could, assist
Yeah.
in the door,
Yeah.
opening the door of that too, so.
What would be some of the health ordinances that might be restricted more so than?
Particularly, there are a contingent of counties in northern Missouri that have passed additional bonding requirements, setback distances, and citing restrictions on larger confined animal feeding operations.
So would there be any health issues, public health issues that
Good question.
might have something related to livestock or other things?
No, the program specifications, as you see before you, really are the side-by-side comparison of what a health ordinance does. And I say that it really doesn't address health as much as it addresses livestock feeding sites. And so no, I don't think there would be anything else that you would touch, that your health board would touch, that any other public health issues that you would address would fall under the parameters or specifications of the AgriReady program. Good question.
On your census here, Gary, I mean, from 2012, do you have anything recurring?
Every 10 years.
Every 10 years.
I saw a 7 here and then a 12, so I didn't know. 10 years.
Yeah.
It is, that's the bureaucracy at its best, sir.
Let's use it, huge undertaking to get that done. Yeah, good question. I may also mention one program that I did not was, we also have an agricultural education program on the move, which was started at the Soybean Association and brought under the umbrella of Missouri Farmers Care. So we have trained, passionate educators that come into third grade classrooms for 10 weeks for an hour a week. They have curriculum about agricultural sciences, careers, a lot of STEM issues that meet state standards, classroom standards and state curriculum. And that's a program that we continue to see growth in and development in that I don't know that it's been in Cole County,
It's not.
that we would also like to bring a focus to Cole County. It's a great way to connect children and teachers, really. We also have a program where we invite teachers to the farm. We can't take all students to the farm as much as we love that, though I know they get to go to Lincoln here soon. But connecting teachers and students with just where that milk comes from and how soybeans are grown and ag careers and soil and conservation and many other aspects over that 10-week program. So that's another large component of really the three-legged stool that makes up Missouri Farmers Care. The other component being we have a public outreach effort with the St. Louis Cardinals. So, for instance, you will see a life-size soybean, ear of corn, cow, and pig running the bases during the third inning, just to pique on Friday nights, yes, to pique people's interest and pair them with a farmer base so that when they have questions about their food and how agriculture occurs in the state, there's a source for that on the lighter side.
Commissioner Shepperly, I'd be happy to entertain your question and dive in. On 2015, I can get with the University of Missouri and present closer numbers as far as market value for Cole County products, if you like.
I was just kind of curious
To the commission.
what the growth had been.
Sure.
Just an estimation.
One aspect I do want to, if you look, you have, Cole County's had a 4% loss in the amount of farms, the 3% loss in land, but 11% increase in their market value. So, and a lot of that has to do with the market price, we understand that, but I also think it has a lot to do with those small businesses bringing value to themselves and to the county. So,
I think I think we're on a horizon actually of a tremendous amount of entrepreneurial opportunity as consumers want to connect better with their food. This is where I really see some local ability to spur entrepreneurship, whether that be meat from the farm or there's a lot of that in Central Missouri, or fruit and vegetable production, or that's the kind of, even in a fairly well-populated county, there are going to be even more and fruitful pockets of population and farmers that can connect with those. So that's where I think we're on the horizon of a really great opportunity. around a populated area, such as Cole County. I'm way up in Adair County, and so to get to a market like this, actually I deliver beef down to Cole County, yeah, to be able to reach the population. So I think there's great opportunity for Cole County producers.
Well, we had a few months ago, we had the director of the Hong Kong Economic Trade Delegation here. And so they came into Jefferson City, and we really didn't know what they were looking at. But what it comes down to is they import everything into Hong Kong. They have no farmland, they have no, and they're coming back in September. So I'm going to get Gary involved in that too. But I thought that's really kind of neat. This could be a whole other market for our farmers.
And with the possibility of a port, I know that some of your staff just created some soy export opportunities to Middle Eastern markets.
Yes, that's our focus right
That-
now.
Yeah, I like
Southeast Asia is a goal. So two things, action items, if I may, for the commission is, one, on my part, if you're interested in getting data specifically for 2015 and back, the difference between 2012 to 2015, I'd be happy to entertain that with the University of Missouri and bring those numbers back. And then two, for you guys to seriously consider to become agri-ready. That's all we had.
I don't have a problem with it. I don't see how it restricts anything that we're gonna do, even if we're designated. And I'm all for, sustaining, growing, and protecting the farms. I guess later on down the line, you have other people's property rights and stuff you want to protect where it could change some of the setbacks on some of that, but that's not going to restrict us. If we want to do something like that, y'all may come to us and say, hey, you're going to lose your designation.
Well, what's
We
good
can
about this
decide
though
then,
is,
right?
Exactly.
is
You can balance those.
you can balance it out, because if you go by DNR or on federal law, just don't go above and beyond of what's, what the law is, of what some of these other counties are actually doing. They're using a different route to actually hinder their ability to grow their county and their small businesses. And that's the way that we all have to look at this, is the fact that these are small businesses. And the men and women that are running these, no one needs a hindrance today. We have enough tax, we have enough law, we have enough regulation. Dear Lord, let's not bring any more. So,
But yes, because it's a voluntary partnership, and because we're a non-governmental entity, it's a great way to have a promotion opportunity, and certainly doesn't restrict your authority.
Well, that's my main thing, is it doesn't restrict us now, and it won't restrict future commissioners. And then later on, you may have an issue that has something to do with other people's
Yes.
property rights or health that we feel is different than what
Right.
the state does, and I definitely don't want any more government overreach.
Right.
You
My
wanna do
my
something.
other goal would be, because the county would be in partnership, and because we would be very actively engaged here with a great presence of Missouri agriculture in Jefferson City, is that with agriculture in the room, in a situation like you could potentially foresee, perhaps we can help facilitate a discussion about appropriate siting or new stewardship and being a good neighbor. And so I think that instead of tensions can rise in a situation like that where anybody feels like their private property rights are being infringed upon, and perhaps we can come in and facilitate a conversation so that
mediation,
it reduces tension.
whatever it takes to make sure that all parties are happy. We're willing to take that on as well, which can be somewhat difficult,
Say,
but we're willing to do.
you're gonna make everybody happy, you must have magic somewhere.
We do. We have some magic dust in our basement down in the soybean office.
Rain makes corn, corn makes...
Well, thanks for your time, Commissioners. It's greatly appreciated. If you do have any questions, Ashley's card is there. Actually, I've got my card.
Do y'all
as
want to
well.
take any action on this today, or do you want to look at it some more? Like I said, I'm
Sir.
fine with it, because it doesn't restrict us whatsoever, the way I see it.
I'm fine with it today.
Thank you, sir.
I think it'll send a strong message.
Yes,
to
ma'am.
all
I'm fine with
parties.
just looking at it instead of just doing it today.
I was just kind of curious, Gary and Ashley, looking at this brochure,
Yes.
so major livestock species produced by county.
Yes.
So it just seems like there's a lot more swine produced than probably I imagined. I mean, does that mean that Cole County produces more swine than livestock or
Actually,
beef or chicken, or, I mean, that's the way I'm reading it, so.
That is awesome.
it's a little off. The number one is poultry. And if you break that down by poultry, it's actually turkeys.
Okay.
Over the past 3 years, there's been an explosion, as you guys know,
Mhm.
of turkeys in Cole County. But that's something else that we can look at specific for Cole County. We'll give you guys a rundown of all species for livestock, as well as row crop, as well as grass as well.
Value over number. You know, that may be
That's
the
a good
value
point.
of
Okay.
those.
Could be total cost is goods sold,
Exactly,
so you're
Yes.
gonna make less on a turkey than you do on a swine.
You will.
That's what I'm guessing.
on the ratio,
Yes,
yes.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see that, I mean, sales per,
So it might take
that's
a
fine.
couple months to get that information. But we can get that together for you guys really quickly, so.
And I just think I appreciate you considering it. I think it sends a strong message to Cole County agriculture that they are valued here, and that the county supports their small businesses and their innovation and entrepreneurship.
Thank you.
Thank you. You see, there's something there.
I'm fine with you on this, we'll have it out of the way unless you want more information on it. Well,
So we just need to fill out the application.
without the application, we need to make a motion then to apply to be designated. Do we have to apply and then?
So the process is, if you would apply today, that would be wonderful. We have several pending applications. We have an Agri-Ready Review Committee. It is headed up by legal counsel from FCS Financial. And we have because we're in conversation with you, we know that you've expressed a willingness to partner and do not have additional ordinances restricting agriculture. So I expect that to be approved and announced here in the next several days. So we would just like to make sure we've got partners that are processed online, and we will announce that. And we would also be happy to come back if there's Cole County Fair or any other great opportunity to come and do a presentation, speak to civic groups. We will do that to promote the county status. We also provide up to 4 road signs that we can work to place on private property, announcing that the major thoroughfares of Cole County, the status of the county being agri-ready, which I think will engender a lot of pride amongst Cole County farmers and awareness of the program.
So what about the renewal? Is that just an automatic renewal, or, we don't have to reapply, or?
Do not have to reapply. If I intend to be, because I intend to be engaged with county leaders and county ag leaders, I anticipate that to be a very simple one-page, just making sure that no status has changed, because nothing has come up that we've had discussions about in the previous year. So it will not be a reapplication process. It may be a call to call in and just check status and see if there's anything else that needs to get done.
Good enough.
Yeah, I'm good. We need a motion to
Sign the
say that we
application.
apply to be designated as an agri-ready.
Yeah, we need a motion to sign the application.
So moved. You know, we just moved it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all. Just this form.
Please, I will just await.
Okay.
It's good to see you guys. Have a good
All right,
day.
thank you.
See, take care.
And you really are better looking than your brother, so.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Probably might know I dress better than
I know, well, I said that.
Why would you not tell the bigger one, he's better looking?
He's not
One
here.
that carries the
I guarantee you, all of us can run
No.
faster than John.
He doesn't have to. He's in lineman, he can lay block.
Greg only gives him one bullet.
Yeah.
I don't know if we give him one, do we?
Okay.
Unless there's a goose.
Bids and contracts, 2016-08 contract amendment, Reserve Builders. time extension.
And here was an addendum to the contract to move the completion date from May 10th to May 30th. It's because of skylights, they're shipping on the 9th. They'll be substantially completed for the original contract. but The skylights are fitting them behind. So it's to the 20th.
You guys okay with that?
I'm fine with it. What is this one on the hill?
No, it's on this building here, the skylight.
This one, okay.
Yeah, they ordered skylight, but it won't be until the night or
Okay.
something. I move that we approve the contract amendment with Missouri Lift.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We finished business.
I do have a couple things on unfinished business, if you would. Last meeting, you guys approved abatement of property in Towson, Wardsville for the tax rolls. If you could just make a motion to approve the order to sign the abatement. We didn't have it at the time, we were checking with Dawn to make sure what we needed, so you do have it, you actually did get it signed, but I don't think it was in the minutes. But you were
So
going to
what
sign.
do you need in it?
Just a motion to approve the order, court order for abating the property, town of Wardsville.
I move that we approve the court order to abate the property in Wardsville.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Did you want to talk about the one for Amoresco?
Yep.
Okay.
And Jeff actually received an email from the gentleman at Amoresco. If you remember, they were the company that helped us with the remodel of the EMS, the ambulance facility in the front. Because of their status, they're able to get some energy credit back from, it looks like
We had a
Ameren.
reduction for the energy efficient buildings.
Yes.
It was allocated to the designer for the taxable year. So we have to sign a form, signing that over to them.
And they had a change of personnel, so I'm sure that's why that wasn't done right away. So it's just a form they're asking us to sign, and if Jill has looked at it, and they would entertain signing that form to finish out that project for them. Based on three
Scott
MIT.
Fuller is the one handling us now. Gerard's not with him any longer, so he handed that to me.
So they get the tax credit or?
Right. On the energy part of that, on the energy part of that project. Kind of what they sold to us to begin with, and what they do.
Your handwriting's so much prettier. Do you not drink that much coffee, or I guess I just shake too much?
That's an art major.
Is it what?
That's an art major.
Oh. But you kind of major, I didn't even know you was in the Army.
Art major. I'm gonna do murals here one of these days.
It's similar
Never mind.
to something that we signed on the jail at one time, assigning,
Assigning our credits to that company so they can get that.
because we can't get them.
That's right. We have tax incentives if we don't go government agency. So we're just pushing that to that vendor to receive that tax.
Well, and the language in it, because I asked them about that too, said further documents and events, paragraph 3 states, customer agrees that Amoresco shall have the right to all environmental, energy, tax, financial, and electrical related attributes, rights, credits, deductions, benefits, and characteristics associated which or arising out of the transactions contemplated by this agreement. So basically, we agreed to do that, we just don't have the paperwork part of it. This came in late. I got this from him the other day, so I didn't forward it, I just turned it on.
Yeah, so it was in the original contract, they're falling behind on getting it done.
And there was nice weather coming back, the truck behind, so the top had to come out off the Jeep. I forgot to email this to you.
Forget about working that day too.
I did. I turned the emails off, except for emergency ones. Blood, phones, fire, nothing came up, so. If you wanna look it over, and
No, I mean, I'll move that we sign section 179D allocating credits to Ameresco.
now second,
All in favor?
Aye.
kinda forgot about it. Sorry.
You got anything else?
I wanted to get it done.
Anything else, Deb?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Where's that,
Oh,
got an application that we need to sign.
yeah, Missouri Department of Revenue, request for information or audit of local sales and use tax records.
Or should we bring that up in new business? Okay. Move on, sorry.
Okay. New business, accounts payable review.
There are 3 invoices out there for payment today.
Three.
Sorry. I think it was 3.
No.
Or 2. 3. Yeah.
I don't know if Chelsea wants to fill that out, is she waiting here? Or did she leave? Oh, you'll just fill it out. Thanks, Mom.
I move that we approve accounts payable pending review.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Landing Creek Road paving discussion.
Okay, we've, just a little short history on this project. Back in about 2011, I believe, was the year. We had a project to upgrade Landing Creek Road from gravel to asphalt. It originally started out as a low-volume upgrade project. We chip sealed, determined that due to the heavy truck traffic coming from the Hog Farm operation, it would need to be asphalt instead of chip seal. So we proceeded as an asphalt project. At the time, we were getting ready to upgrade it or get the plans finished. It was determined by the county commission to only pave to a private road turnoff called Doty's Little Acres. And that section of road had a high volume of traffic above 125 car per day minimum to qualify for asphalt upgrade. And so we did that, but also did grading work on the rest of a portion of the road down to the intersection of South Landing Creek. Landing Creek Road actually goes off towards the, and you do have a copy of this, correct? Yeah. Okay. Landing Creek Road also it goes off towards the east for another roughly probably 3/4 mile, give or take. So at this time, since the road's been upgraded, paved to Doty's Little Acres, graded down to the intersection. We've had conversations with the property owners down on that end about, starting from actually paving, doing the rest of it, upgrading everything down there to, a recent request was just to pave the portion that was graded with the bigger project down to the intersection of South Landing Creek, the T intersection. Mark Patton is the one that I've talked to, and he was unable to attend. Kenny Hammond, one of the neighbors down there is here, and could, discuss your all's concerns and issues, and at this time, we would just kind of open it up for discussion and see what the commission's thought is on taking that piece right there that's between the blue, the dashes there, and actually paving that. The cost would be approximately $255,000. Right now, we don't have any money in our budget to do that. It would have to be either come from potential savings to the project we have. Swift Wood really came in a little bit under what our budgeted amount is. If that holds true with the final cost, there might be some savings there, and additional money that would come from the next sales tax.
So you're saying now between the blue lines is what you're wanting to do?
And really, that portion is the only part, that's the part that remained as gravel when we did the upgrade That's all been widened out, intersection widened. And I think a big issue right now, Ken, you could comment on it, is the base rock.
Base rock, anytime it rains, the road is a mess. Whenever you have 8 hog barns down at the end of the road, and going over this every day. Then on a day like today, when it dried out, it's just a solid washboard from one end to the other. And I realize there's a lot of roads, county roads that are that way, but with that base rock, every time it rains, if you meet one of these tractor trailers on that road, and you have to get off to the side of the road, you've got to slow down because it'll pull you over into the ditch, the base rock will. And it's not necessarily the base rock, it's the sludge that, I call it sludge, but the soupy stuff that comes to the top.
I think the biggest issue with this, and it has been an issue even before we did the project, was the hog barn, the hog operation down there, and the heavy trucks going in and out. You know, how many a day? Roughly?
Yeah.
A couple maybe.
Couple a day, yeah.
So
We did a count on that one, didn't we?
the,
It was like 80 times a month or something, so it averages 2 or something. When we first did this, when we was gonna do, we met with owners, and it would make sense to do the whole road. And then when we were talking about it, we got a bid to do the whole road, but then it came up in discussion where the average daily traffic count to Doty's Little Acres was the only one that warranted it under our guidelines to pay. Two of the commissioners at that time voted to do it just to that point. I voted not to do any of it, because I thought we should do either all of it or none. It is a soupy mess, probably a maintenance nightmare. What about when you stop at that blue line on South Landing Creek? That's still gonna be county road down to there, that's still gonna be gravel, right? We're still gonna go down there.
the rest of it to the east and to the south, it's a big gravel. I think our position would be, we'd like to see it all get paid, everything.
That's where I'm at with it too. If we're gonna do it, let's do all of it. Or even from the one that's going east, that goes nowhere.
It dead ends, both of them dead
Can we give
ends.
that over, turn that back over, and then maybe eliminate that part of it? I don't know if they want it.
Ideally, that'd be great. I don't know that the property owner would accept it. I think the property owner now, it used to be 2 separate properties, now it's one owner on both sides, so.
Family, I'm not sure it's the same one.
Yeah, I think it's him and his son-in-law was the other one. But the owner that was at the end of that's no longer at it.
Yeah, we approached that with Mr. Pop back 5 years ago about abandoning the part at the very end, based on what it did at the end, and he wasn't in favor at that time. So I don't see him.
But now that he owns, okay, now the family owns all that at the end, it's gonna be different. So maybe we can look at that. I just think we need to do all of it if we're gonna do it. Because we send a road grader down there and there's not, I don't know, there's not another gravel road within. Yeah, we go down to the river, that's probably, yeah, Teal Bottom's probably the closest one in.
Steel bottom paved.
Sugar Ferry. Yeah. Teal Bottom is Deer Run, Teal Bottom all day long. But what you have here is just to South Landing Creek, basically to that T.
Just to pay the part that was graded and left unpaved in 2011. That cost is $255,000. And a few years ago, this issue came up, and I don't know exactly when, but I pulled out my information at that time, and we had estimated 3 different things. To do the part that we're talking about right now, I had $251,000, so, roughly the rest of my numbers are should be pretty close. So to do the rest of Landing Creek onto the east would be $276, and then South Landing Creek, $355. That would be to the south. So total for both, including paving the parts that's coming up right now, would be $880,000. dead end roads kind of get into a funny situation because
Paper driveway too?
it, Guthrie Street's gonna have, it might be the same people going back and forth, but it'll capture some from one end to the other using those cut through. These here, once you go in, you have to come out, so your numbers are gonna be about double. But after you get to a certain point, especially in this case with Roseville Acres, your number drops down, and really whoever goes in has to come out. So it's just a little different situation.
How do we establish what's a county road and what's a driveway?
The county road would be anything maintained by us.
Historic maintenance. That's the way with South Landing Creek and Landing Creek both. It's just, it's been maintained for as long as any of us been around.
So because somebody maintained it prior,
Going back several years, probably 50, 60, 70 years, this was a through road, South Landing Creek, and it may have been Landing Creek, they may have connected at the end, but it
Went up to Higgins Creek, didn't it?
no, it went over to Deer Run Road and came out at the Robinette Road. That goes back probably 60, 70 years, I'm guessing. About that road.
About that, but both of them did actually go through too. The one that went out over to Higgins Creek and then the other one went back over to Deer Run. They both went through. But that's been a long time ago.
So there's a barrier or something, there's one that went to Deer Creek.
Yeah.
So that's why, they came to be that they became dead end roads due to whatever, something being abandoned at the time, or, who knows why, but we find that a lot of these dead end roads are that kind of situation where they did go through at one time, but then things changed. Working on Glover's Ford, that had to been a through road over to Wardsville at one time. And it's now dead end. We're gonna work on that this year.
How much under budget did Boise Brewley bids come in?
Well, right now, it's not done, so we don't know what it's and everything. We hope it comes in under, because I think we were estimated high on quantity, but about 100. So,
Did we have money in the road upgrades to be able to do this?
in
Where
the
would
next
money
sales
come from?
tax, we had 2 projects identified, and it was Waterford and Mount Hope Loop and Flesh Rock. And so we estimated what those costs would be and included that money in the budget, or the budgeted amount for the sales tax for the next one.
so I don't know where I'm at on this. I don't truly have a problem with what you've got there to pave all the way to the end of Landing Creek. I mean, in essence, we might as well pave the guy's driveway too. Because that's what we're doing. We're going right up to his front door. And then, even on South Landing Creek, there's a few houses there. So I'm not sure where I'm at on that. I think one of the other things that we gotta look at though too is without any zoning in the county, any commercial business could come in and set up shop on any road, anywhere. So, I don't know that, it's generating revenue and everything else. So there's some give and take there, but obviously the truck traffic going into that hog farm is contributing to deterioration of the road.
An average 18-wheeler is about equivalent damage-wise to a road at about $3,000. So now you can't put that in terms of traffic counts and relate that at all, but that's I think why we're having issues with this piece of road. And I think subgrade is probably not too bad. It's just direction. We can't, Public Works can't decide yes or no on whether we're going to pay for this. We need a policy decision from the county commission. You know, based on the current, if we were to look at this piece of road going back to when we originally did the project, had planned to do it in 2011, it would have met the traffic warrants because averaged out, the traffic volumes averaged out within 125. Or close to it. I have to add up just to make sure that the reason why it got brought towards the commission and decided not to phase the whole thing and do the whole thing is, as we were looking at it, they talked to some of the property owners about doing South Landing Creek at the same time they were doing Landing Creek. Now that is a different road name, and so that would be a different road upgrade petition, a whole nother cycle of evaluating traffic counts and everything. And since it didn't meet the warrant, we brought it to the county commission to consider whether we should do it at the same time for, just for maintenance purposes, operational purposes for the public works department. And at that time is when it was determined, as Chris said, the comments of the driveway and whatnot, dead end road. And that's when the commission decided at the time to not pay the whole thing. So policy-wise, that could have been maybe a little bit against our normal policy of 125 car a day. But like I said, the dead end or no outlet roads always get us into a little bit of a predicament because, where do you take the count? If you take the count at the very end, it's going to be the least. If you take it in the middle, it's going to be, it's just, there's not a good direction on how to determine that. And our rating formula doesn't really give you good direction as well. So that's one of the reasons why we've been looking at talking about updating the rating formula, placing some different weights on the roads that have no outlet, like this one, and placing emphasis on roads that have, operations like the involve tractor trailers or business type activities.
Again, I don't know if there needs to be really a decision today, Chris, is we were requested by the landowners down there to bring it back. That's what we've done. I'm not sure, like I said, an answer needs to be made today, or we can look into the possibility of Pop Inlet, seeing if they want to do away with that portion and turn it into a private road. There has to be a petition, it has to be submitted to the state statutes to be able to turn it back over.
Really?
Yeah.
Again, just vacate the right away.
No, it's gonna go through a legal set of steps. I'd have to get Shannon up here to, but I know to be able to abandon it. And that's what it'd be, if there is a place for the, in the state statutes that addresses this.
Comments, Sam?
No, I look into paving it, but
Sounds to me like you want us to talk to the family there and see if there's any interest of taking that. That changes the dynamic of this whole thing quite a bit. Knowing where they stand on that might make the decision a little bit easier to make one way or the other, a little more definitive.
I was saying, if you're gonna do some of it, do all of it, and if we can get them to take over that farm part of the road. Because we went from, 255, whatever, to 880, there's a lot of price difference in that. I'd like to see all of it done, just so we wouldn't have to maintain that hard of gravel down there. So it is a mile and a half.
Well, just looking at my numbers, I'm guessing the Landing Creek part, I said 3/4 earlier, it might be closer to half mile. And then South Creek, Landing Creek, probably about 3/4 mile.
So, I don't know, I just think it's a maintenance nightmare, and if it was all paved, we could eliminate that, so if we can work something to where he takes it over, and it might benefit him too, so maybe he'll be more for it since he's got different neighbors. Because that's changed hands twice since we did that.
Yeah, look into it, get back to us.
I guess we need to figure out where the money's gonna come from too.
Yeah,
Because if we just had budgeted for the next tax cycle for those two projects, we have to figure that out. Them tractor trailers coming through there, I know there's only 34 average daily traffic, but when it rains, when that tractor trailer goes through there, or even garbage trucks, it's like 70 cars going through there, because it tears it up. I don't know what it is with that gravel, it's like that on Sealy Road too. You damn near got 4-wheel drive to get through there. So, I don't know if that was some of the rock that we put in there, or we got from a different quarry, or what. Stuff's all
Part
hard.
of it's just the nature of the gravel road. You're gonna see that puff up big time in the springtime until it rains, so we're back down.
I think it's different rock too, but it's, I think it's
Well,
different
just the
rock.
just the heavy traffic will break down and make more of the dust, just by traveling over. That's one of the mechanics of gravel roads and heavy traffic. It's gonna break the limestone up, more passes that you do.
Pushes it down into the clay, it brings clay up too, doesn't it?
Like Kenny said, it's a maintenance headache for us, as it says.
There's some other options, did we upgrade all of South Landing Creek? Is it widened and?
We've done some sloping work on it, but I don't think it's a full 26 or anything. It was, I don't know.
Is there some options to maybe chip seal some of that down there?
That's what initially was proposed by property owners on South.
I got dirty look from Larry, so shut up.
Some of our people don't like chip seals too much these days, but it does add a lot of extra maintenance.
and so we don't like them, this is.
I never heard good things.
Yeah, it's got, you gotta, chip seals are good in this way, especially the way we do it now, where we do all the work underneath those, build a subgrade up, just like we do with asphalt. That works a lot better.
But then your cost is up there not much less than the asphalt,
The
so.
only difference you got between chip seal costs and asphalt, and chip seal, we're usually running about 3 to 5 years between chips, having to do an overlay on them, so, there's added expenses to having chip seals out there. Chip seal is just a surface covering, you've got to have a good solid base underneath of it for it to be able to work. That's why we have such a problem with
Osage Bend.
Osage Bend area. And we've got another section up on High Point.
And then we got another part of my point that is property units, or not perfect, but it's a real,
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's kind of better, but
yeah, it's got good taste. It's just, it's in how you build it. So, what I'm getting is, when I go back and just look at what our options are here, rather than make a decision on paving this right now, we want to see what the expanded options are for the rest of it. And then come back to you, and discuss in more detail, all the information that's out there, about what we can do.
Yeah, would it make any sense to chip seal the rest of South Landing Creek and then going east on Landing Creek if we pave the rest of it? I would think with the tractor trailers on the main part of Landing Creek, we would want to pave that, right? Around that maybe?
I would say down to the intersection at least.
And then, so maybe we try to keep the cost down, maybe do chip seal on the rest of it.
We can look at some costs, bring that back. Once we talk with Mr. Pop and see what the family would like to do there. We'll try to get some information, bring it back to you. Okay?
It won't be real soon, and I've worked with other projects and stuff getting going, so probably sometime mid to late summer. That's all right. We probably can't do anything right now anyway.
We'd like to have it done tomorrow.
You think he's gonna wanna take that over? Hey, you know what you need to do? Just go down there, park down there on the road, and a little bonfire, well, in a pit, of course. And, you know, it's a public road, so
Yeah,
maybe he'd want that to himself, make it private then.
yeah,
Nothing illegal,
nothing illegal.
no.
I'd say budget-wise, we probably can't get it done this year just because there's no money available. But if the decision is made to do it next year would be potential. So however long it takes us this summer to get information back is not that critical.
I realize that you want to do the whole project at once, and I understand that, but until you decide what about the chip seal, what about paving it down to where it's finished at?
It is an intersection.
If the decision was going to be made to do it all, I think it,
Should be all done.
well, I think you could, dollar-wise, you could probably do that part right away and then work on the rest, which may take more time to accomplish depending on how we do it. So, I think the first decision is figure out what we're going to do. You know, and have that as the final decision and then figure out how to accomplish it. So,
I'm fine with that. Sounds like it's a little closer than what it was, so that's great.
Certainly any way to get some data on what type of a business Mr. Pop. Is that the guy's name that's running the hog farm? Pop? Kind of data on what kind of volume he's doing down there. As far as sales.
We'll talk to him when we talk to him about the road too, and see if he'll provide that information to us.
Okay. Keep moving along. 2015 asphalt overlay program, final closeout change order.
okay. This is the closeout change order for last year's overlay project. And the reason why it took so long to finish it is because it took a while with Jefferson Asphalt agreeing on what the final quantities were. They had some different numbers than we did, and it just took a while to get all that cleaned up due to different reasons, some I don't know of. But we had, and I gave you that copy. You have the spreadsheet in front of you that shows that the main reasons were, one, just basic overruns and underruns of quantities on each road. That happens every time we do asphalt overlays. Two, the Tall Oak subdivision, Sturbridge Road required replacement of a good portion of the asphalt base due to the condition, and that was decided to include in this project, in this contract. And then three, when we did the Bagnell Drive stormwater work, we decided to include in this contract the asphalt work to replace the street area and weld those areas. And then, so those are three reasons for, well, the middle two, the last two were overruns, just the over and under of basic quantities. And then City of Lowman, they removed some of their paving due to some work they were doing at the MFA, so their part was actually less. So the overall additional work or additional amount for this contract was $49,018.63 for a grand total of $553,315.45. And we would recommend approval of this date. questions?
What do we have budgeted for that?
Every year we have $1 million. Where this actually hit, I don't know for sure. I know it got into a little bit of, went above the 1 million, which that ends up coming out of this year's allotted amount to hit our 5 million total for those assets.
So we'll be doing nothing less this year
A
then?
little bit less, yeah.
Okay. So a couple questions. Why the variation in the price per ton? Is it just hauling? Is it?
Some of it's hauling, some of it's, you know, if they get on a long road, take you, for example, West Brazil, we normally see the price down lower because it's a main line run. A tall oak subdivision is a lot of starting, stopping, backing up type of deal. I would say that's.
We had $69.11 as an established bid price for the contract, so we had to use that. That unfortunately was done for the city of Bowman, which was a smaller quantity. The base contract for last year had no bituminous rates. So we were stuck with using that price. Would have been a little cheaper, probably in the $62 range.
So does the cost per ton, does that include the hauling and laying and everything?
Yes.
Paper, rollers, all equipment.
We do separate out traffic control and mobilization. And that's done per each road.
So then you get down in an ad for mobilization. So is that just for a little amount or?
That price, and they do it, a lot of they have a kind of a set price from bringing stuff out and hauling it back. It's a pretty big operation to do that. Okay?
Right.
And what we feel is that we would rather that be an established amount per road. So we take that out of the base price for laying the asphalt, because sometimes you get into, you know, a considerable amount of extra you want to do on a road, or maybe less. So we want that price of that asphalt to be reflected in actually bringing out and laying it. The mobilization we take out, we can do that as a separate for each item. And that's pretty common across the board for the state and the city.
Sure. Fine, so mobilization is separate, which I get that. So they're not there and they're mobilizing the deal section. I get that, that's fine. And then if they're there, then they're doing more or less just X amount. Okay. Then, just trying to understand here, I'm not picking on
That's
or anything.
all right.
Anyway, so, we had a bid earlier, I thought, that talked about milling, and it was by the hour.
Okay. We bid.
Am I thinking about something else?
Yeah,
or-
that's separate.
That's like what we did down on Scrivener Road last year, there by the little bridge. We bid that separate, so Larry and his maintenance, if it works out, it's easier to come in with a miller and mill out a large section versus us trying to do it with backhoes and stuff. That's why we've got that bid separate. That's more for maintenance operations and stuff like that. When they utilize, you know, we had the real, on Scrivener, we had that large bump coming onto the bridge, and that's where we brought the miller in, where we could take it down precisely where we needed it and just lay asphalt back over top.
Well, when we do those projects, we do the hauling, we do the labor work.
Okay.
All they have is people on their equipment.
So the difference in the cold milling on the different projects is just because of the quantities, or?
When we, coordination wise and scheduling, we determined it was better to stick to cold milling of everything put it all on one contractor rather than trying to schedule out different things, because it just doesn't always work out right. You're trying to, it's hard to schedule. They put it on one contractor, they can determine how they approach things from start to finish. Okay?
We used to have the milling separate, and it didn't work real well trying to get it. You know, the miller would want to come in, say, this week, but the asphalt paver, which was a separate contract, would be, they're not ready to lay it for 2 weeks. So just what we require now is when they bring the miller in, they have to lay the asphalt right after that, so it doesn't lay open. What we don't want when we mill is to get a rainstorm in between where it softens that subgrade up.
I guess the thing that was, I mean, you're kind of taking all these different variables and you're backing it into a price per square yard or a price per ton or whatever, and it's, I don't know, it just seems to me like you got X amount to show up, which everybody does. You got X amount to run the equipment with an operator, and then however much you're doing, and then you got X amount for hauling and all this other stuff. And so when I see a price per square yard, I'm thinking, well, how much of all this stuff do I have to figure out in order to get a price per square yard or a price per ton? That seems just a little backwards to me. I mean, it's like everybody's in comparison. It's like a roofer saying, I'll do roofing for so much a square, or a landscaper, I'm gonna lay this block for so much a square foot. Well, that don't ever work. I mean, every job is different. So, yeah, that may be what you bid, but when you're doing stuff all over the place, eventually you got mobilization and all this other
Well,
stuff.
that's why we separate the road. Chris is trying to get that down. You know, they know how much cost they've got in hauling, say for example, tall oak subdivision. They knew how far the haul was, they could figure out their cost. Instead of trying to do it over all the projects, we've been getting better prices by breaking the roads out independently to where they can figure out their cost for each road.
So the change orders for these different ones. So this road was maybe this much a ton, and this road was this much a ton. So you've already established a price for that.
Yeah, I do have that information.
I guess that's
And
kind of
provide that-
where I was going,
Yeah,
and I just didn't know that.
I didn't, up until the last year or two, we used to actually break everything out for the road. And it got to where, it got too tedious to track. We still track it per road, but as far as payments, it's done for these line items.
Nice.
Not 50 different line items per project, so.
Okay. That's what I
Gas,
was,
we still separate the costs out, so we've got a good cost per road that we can put in there for an asset cost, so.
so like you got a price established for Tall Oak subdivision, and that's $64 or whatever a ton.
Yeah.
And if they're there longer and lay more tons, it's just a change order up or down.
We used to do a PO on each road before we did it. Joyce would have to go in and change the PO because the prices always come in different because you don't know which line is going to be per ton. So now we do the PO after we know the exact quantity, it just makes a lot of sense.
So it's just like a standard bid sheet. You've got the price established, we're just over or under.
This is no different than any other project we do, just over and under on unit prices.
All right. Sorry. I mean,
That's all right.
I'd rather you all ask questions and know how it's been done. Never hurt my feelings, so ask a question.
I move that we approve the change order number 1, asphalt overlay program, final closeout quantities.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Sorry, I didn't let you ask any questions.
all right. I got cough medicine, cold medicine in me, hell, my mind's not real good today.
What kind of cough medicine? Is it in your coffee cup?
No, that's what I should have put in my.
You've been abusing it? That's not a shot glass on there, Sam.
No, I should have. Should have brought
Nobody ever
some
said you
additional
had to put
alcohol.
coffee in it either.
Okay, let's keep going. Smoke detectors for IT department.
What's happening?
How That's yours.
Yeah,
What's that?
basically,
Hold on a second. What do we got going?
Oh, I'm sorry. The advisory committee was next in line, unless y'all are skipping over there.
Just do Dale, he's already staying
Yeah.
there.
All right, I'm sorry, we get two conversations going and I can't keep up. I can barely keep up.
sorry about that.
You guys want to, I mean,
Cut me off.
We're fine, go ahead, Dale, you're
oh,
on.
basically, Williams Keepers has contracted with an IT auditor this year. He came down and spent quite a time in my office, and the very first thing he noticed was there's no smoke detectors down here, or there's no fire protection at all in the area. And since we've, changed the configuration down there, anything that actually existed there is no longer monitoring our area. And the other thing was there is nothing or no one to actually monitor any kind of smoke fire detection. So I guess Jennifer got touch base with Scott Gruden, and he came back with a proposal. And I'm not saying that's the the only one or whatever, but I think it's like in the $800 range to put in 3 smoke detectors in the area. And there was going to be a $35 a month charge to monitor it, which I guess is whether his company does the monitoring or whatever. But whatever we do, it's critical that we have a monitoring capability, or it's just a useless endeavor. So I just think that you guys can entertain it, whatever you want to do with it, but we do need to make a solution for it that does include adequate coverage and also have somebody monitor it 24/7. So if something happens down there, the whole courthouse is basically, I don't know, throughout the courthouse, I don't know if there's anything going on that's monitored. Like before, when the sheriff was downstairs, there's always somebody there, and there's there's an alarm panel in the back hallway that's locked or behind closed doors now. So I just recommend that at least for our area, get the best possible proposal and have a 24/7 monitoring capability. And do you remember I don't know what Scott's deal was.
I'm printing some copies now, but yes, $818 to install and to program them, and then for monthly monitoring, it's either $35. And it ties into the system that we just put into the county collector. So, and if you wanted the cell phone backup, so we would call it cell phone, and that would be an additional $5 a month. And plus a setup of $217. I think Jennifer emailed this to you guys, but I'll see if it's printed here.
But anyway, it's an audit finding, and it's going to show up somewhere that we don't have it. So it's kind of, and we do need it. I mean,
So we not have smoke detectors in the courthouse?
I don't know. I mean, the one that I know, there's one outside. Outside my
There's
door.
smoke detectors, but they're not attached to anything, so by the time, nobody's here to hear the smoke
Yeah,
detector.
that's.
Right.
We have a tremendous number of alarms in the courthouse that go into the back hallway that there's nobody there. I mean, it's behind closed doors, and after 4:30, there's nobody. So you're essentially, 16 hours a day and all weekend long, there's nobody around. Better not be. I was gonna say better not be anybody in the building, but so. This is probably just a kind of the iceberg effect that we're looking at one little area, but it might be a bigger area, like the whole courthouse. I don't know. I'm not speaking to their deal, but
So why would we need a monthly monitoring service if we just had the cell service?
well, I just think faster response time. I mean,
I
all
would
the
send a cell service over to the sheriff's department and say,
I think the
your IT's
monitoring-
on fire.
Yeah, the monitoring goes to the 911 type people, but if you wanted also then to call, like Dale, to say, hey, an alarm went there, now we need to.
Do we have to have the monthly monitoring thing? We can't just have it go to it,
I don't know.
whether that's separate or that's on top of it.
I think it's monitoring no matter what. They're monitoring, see if they go
I
off.
think that's where I have one pain is at $35 per month to monitor it. I struggle with that part of it.
Well, and I think because it's not occupied anymore, 24/7.
How can we have it set up to go off when it goes off that the sheriff's department is notified and they can go look at it?
Well, then that would be something we could ask Scott from.
They
That's
can
his
call-
business, so I'm sure he's
Well, there's a fire extinguisher.
I think the deal with the sheriff, well, I'm not gonna speak for him, but the thing, after hours, there's only one lady sitting over there in the office. I mean, I don't know who's actually in the building. I mean, seriously, I mean, she wears stuff.
Control from the other side.
I don't know if there's any control around. I don't know how they're staffed after hours.
I mean, we have a lot invested in that area down there, dollar-wise, asset-wise.
But, you know, those are good questions, and I'm not gonna defend any of them. I mean, we just need to have somebody, that the alarm goes off, and somebody actually responds to it and gets the appropriate, you know, service here to deal with it. So it's just, you know, my deal is the protection for the equipment. But, you know, if there's, these are certainly Scott questions that he can answer that that's all I've seen in the paper, you know, so I haven't, he didn't talk to me about it or, you know, anything like that, so I can't really amplify on anything.
Well, I think it'd be a good idea to have it in there. I'm not disagreeing with that. It's $35 a month to just have it hooked up.
That's about the going rate though for sound control.
Hook it up to a wire that buzzes somebody over there and says, hey, you got an issue here, make a phone call, and it doesn't cost them $35 a month. I don't know.
And we have,
I'm not saying it's not the going rate.
Yeah.
we have technically saved a lot of money from going away from the Sonatrol standalone security with the
So
monitoring.
we can spend more money now.
No, I'm just saying,
Sorry,
you know,
Debbie.
we are being, you know, good with the stewards of the money.
I can run ads in the
With-
paper and say, I'll pay somebody $35 a day to watch the
The day,
$35
the day.
I'm just making fun of newspaper ads, okay?
Give them a place to sleep over there.
See, my God.
I mean, the other thing, I mean.
There you go, we got a homeless guys down there on top, set them in there, there's a fire, go across the street, tell the sheriff, call 911.
No, you just pay the phone down, I don't know.
I don't know if we need to get,
Yeah, does Scott, do we need to get Scott in, or, I mean, like I said, I didn't talk to him about this, it was a proposal, we went back to him, because he was doing
He got the
Larry's
bid down.
stuff.
yeah, I know, that's why we went to him, I don't know if he's.
It's kind of curious, I mean, I guess the question I would have, if they're doing it for Larry, can we just piggyback onto the same, why can't we just use the same pricing? You know, of course, he's probably paying it out of his funds instead of, I don't know, but that could be another option. I mean, I don't know how it's set up. But anyway, my deal is we need something, and however, we just gotta have somebody that, if the alarm goes off, somebody does something,
Basically, what you're saying is if the three smoke detectors were hooked together, and they were hooked to a phone line, and just ring the fire department or
Yeah,
the
something.
911
Third
center
party.
out there.
Yeah, and I think this is a business that's just like the, you know, ADT or something like that. If something goes off, there's something, you're paying a service for somebody to respond to the alarm and contact somebody. I would assume it's probably what it's dealing.
So that room is separate by itself.
Right, once we
So
wall
if
it.
the rest of the courthouse is on fire,
Right.
it ain't gonna matter.
But that's what I'm saying, I don't know what the courthouse
So-
status is.
Till that room fills up with smoke.
Until it
It'll
burns it
go,
up,
I mean,
I'm not even worried
well,
about the
it
smoke.
will, I mean, if it gets filled with smoke, it's gonna set an alarm off. Whole building could be coming down, but it's gonna, if that's the last line of defense, then it's gonna at least set an alarm off, but.
I wanna give Scott a call to see what other options
Okay,
we got.
that's fine, and like I said, I'm not saying it's best or anything, but
No, that's
we've
fine.
got the need, and I hope we can address it. You know, it's not,
I don't disagree with you, need something over there.
and like I said, right now, there's a little panel in the, behind the door that says, okay, this is the old 5th floor where it used to be. There's smoke detectors up there that did something on the panel down here, but that's when you had somebody sitting a foot away from it, they would respond, but that's all done, you know, so. And once we built the extra wall, then that completely walled off the alarms from us, so there's no,
I'm
everything is
surprised
sealed.
we don't have smoke detectors, you know, in other areas of the courthouse.
And I'm not saying we don't, but if they could all go down to the same, if they all go to the same alarm panel, what's the point of the detector if there's nobody there to monitor, you know? It doesn't really do anything unless it goes somewhere that somebody can, you know, respond to.
I think Scott's monitoring in Kansas City.
But anyway, is that what we need to do, is just get Scott in? Or, I mean, do we want to bid? I mean, I don't know what direction he wants to go on.
Jeff said he would contact him.
I just wanna call and see what the
Yeah.
options are,
Yeah.
because I know
Yeah.
Scott, he'll tell me that there's no other options, this is the way you gotta do it, or, I don't know.
I think we
Just
can
try
put a
to
cot,
Google
put
fire
a cot
detectors
there,
there.
and you just,
You can put it, for $800, you don't build a fire detector that will, if there's fire or smoke, it's gonna send you a message that says, your crap is on fire, boys. I'm dead serious, I won't be at the next meeting, I'm gonna look at it. Because it's, you shouldn't have to have somebody getting $35 just waiting for that phone call to come in. That's not gonna come in, and it adds up pretty quick.
Oh, yeah, it's a recurring cost. It's like basically it's, I'll say it's close to a phone line a month. It's a little.
Yeah, it's $500 a year that you're putting on that.
So, okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay,
Sorry.
if you need anything else from me, let me know and I'll do whatever. But like I said, this is just an audit finding and it's legitimate. I mean, it's not like he's nitpicking. We don't have anything.
okay.
Okay, thank you.
Now we'll go back to approval of advisory committee bylaws.
Keep it
Road
in
and
line.
bridge,
man.
traffic and
He's
safety in
jumping
parks.
around here.
I'm saying.
Same. What are we gonna do? More coffee, maybe, that's what it is. This meeting's taking so long, it's almost 10 to 10.
I got three sets of bylaws. Towards the end of last year, we began looking at each of the three advisory committees or advisory boards that we have. And basically just wanted to bring everything up to date. It's been several years since we had looked at the bylaws. I think it was back to maybe early 2000s. We found that we need to make a few little adjustments to the road, bridge, and traffic and safety. And I'll talk about those real quick. I think we kind of...
Do you have a strike through or whatever that shows what changes to make?
Yeah, I don't. I know we worked with, Jill's not in here, we passed everything through her. And really, I'll just summarize what we did for both. The traffic and safety didn't change other than we took out a line that basically dealt with establishing what the terms would be. Since we're beyond that, we now just have in there that they're 3-year terms with 1/3 being available for reappointment each year or appointment each year. And then there's a lot of grammatical things and just his, we changed that to his or her, just different things that Jill noted. So really, those two didn't need a whole lot. The road and bridge was maybe the one that, actually that one was the same. We had, and what we found is road and bridge, we actually had 7 members. We should have only had 6. We did not have a sheriff or sheriff delegate. And so we went back to having a sheriff or sheriff delegate on the road and bridge committee and just having 6 members. And so, what we did for the 2 is we defined, we had members that had served for 20 years, 27 years, I think was the longest. And we went through and we defined which ones we kind of quizzed them on whether they wanted to stay on or be replaced and assign terms to each one of them. And so now we're on a rotating basis in which we can appoint new members every year. Looking at the Parks Advisory Committee, we did not have bylaws for that at all. And so we created bylaws for that one, and they really mimic the other 2. The only difference is on all 3 is the goals and objectives of the committees are different. Obviously, the parks, they establish new goals and objectives for that. But beyond that, the basic outline of everything is the same, just kind of clean things up. And so, as I said, these were reviewed and approved by Jill as far as the content goes and the structure. The date on them was February 4th for parks. Revision dates on the other 2 were February 5th. And they all were passed through the 3 committees to get their input. And everything's been approved by those to take to the county commission for final approval. So really at this point, we would just need the county commission to approve of the new bylaws for the county Parks Advisory Committee and the revised bylaws for the road and bridge, and traffic and safety advisory boards. Any more questions? I know Jeff is, like I said, I tried to explain, since I don't have those strike throughs, what the original was.
Yeah, those are just handy.
I tried to explain that the best I could going off of
Said the
memory.
his and hers, if you're gonna change that, then you need to change chairman to chairperson, or chairwoman, or chairhead, whatever the heck it's gonna be. If you wanna be all politically correct on it.
That was one item that was noted.
You spelled my name wrong. Now we're gonna have some issues. That's just funny.
How did you spell Belcher?
Keep spelling it. I'm kidding.
It is spelled wrong.
I don't know if it's just that one on the back. But yeah, I saw that on some of it, you talking about his and hers.
Okay, well, since that, I don't want you signing that with that being misspelled, so let's just table this and we'll bring it back.
Well, we can approve it pending them changes, and then once we get this stuff, we'll sign it. I mean, that's,
Is that okay then?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll bring back clean copies and everything.
and you, I mean, you don't have to change the chairman thing. I'm just, if it's a politically correct thing, if that's what we're gonna do, then I'm not gonna at all.
Yeah.
Chair it, whatever. Chair or transgender, I don't know what all they have nowadays. Better move on, I'm going down.
I think.
So item F,
Which one? Marcus?
yeah, I'm on traffic and safety, but
Okay.
they're all the same, but, so.
Yeah.
Homeowners shall continue to serve until their successors shall have been appointed and qualified. So they're not done when their term's up. And then it's just, doesn't sit vacant until the county commission appoints somebody, or county commission reappoints them. On the planning commission, that's, we've always, they sit there. Well, I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but I mean, sometimes you want that term to be up.
Well, what we've done, I know planning commission in the past, there's been terms that have expired, for whatever reason, haven't been able to find somebody to appoint, and the person agreed to continue to serve. It just gives us the ability to have a quorum to be able to move forward.
You can also change them in the middle of their
I see
term.
both sides, so they're serving on an expired term.
Until,
I think if it's a term that expires at the end of the year, I guess, correct, or does it go on when the actual appointed date was? I think it should be like
I think we've been trying to get it by a year where they come to it at the same time every year, that we can just bring up a list, similar to what you do with some of the other boards. We're going to try to use calendar.
It's not like we have a lot of people volunteering, but at the same time,
we have to serve down people.
Yeah.
If the term expires at the end of the year, our goal, and we haven't been, and that's kind of how this came up, where we had people serving for numbers of years, is actually reappointing them if they want to stay on or finding a replacement. And that's what we're going to be better at, is actually be consistent with that, not like what we got ourselves into, which, caused us to look at this and revise and realize that we didn't actually have bylaws for the parts committee, so. I guess if somebody, and that's the question, let's say somebody resigned mid-year, is that kind of where that's, they have to stay, they can't actually?
No, they can be, or we can appoint a new one.
Fill that term.
Yeah.
fill that term.
But I'd like to keep it where it comes due at the same time every year, so we don't have to try and track it.
It does say the commission with a majority vote, the commission with a majority vote may remove any member of the board for failure or inability to attend meetings or for other due cause.
Yeah, I guess we could say that.
So you all have the ability to.
That will employees.
Yeah, that's fine too.
Yeah, I know, I couldn't have done it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. We'll bring back, clean
copy there. I move that we approve the bylaws.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any other issues before we go into closed session? There's that.
I move that we sign the request for information for local sales and use tax records.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Pursuant to section 610-021 of the revised statutes of Missouri, Commission will go into closed session to discuss the following: existing or proposed security systems. Motion to go into closed session.
Did you move that, or?
I just read it. I move.
You move, or you not?
Yes, I move. A motion. Roll call.
Sam,
Yes.
Jeff,
Sure.
Chris.
Yes.
I need coffee though.
You go home, do
All
it.
right. Crap.
That guy.
Yeah. Trying to go to the doctor.